mind-blowing moments on Judge Mathis.
You are now officially a famous player.
That's right. Thank you. This is the nicest gift.
So is it nice enough to get a picture with you with it?
Absolutely. We're going Absolutely.
And the one time he pulled up in front of the house and I watched him like lean in and kiss her goodbye. I'm watching him out the window and instead of walking home, he walked over to the neighbor's trailer. And then he tried to convince me that I was seeing things. I didn't see him get out of that car.
James and Jezebel are siblings who have been enemies their entire lives. The big brother James sued his baby sister for falsely accusing him of assaulting her, which caused him to go to jail, after which she stole his car. Jezebel says James has been abusive her entire life and is countersuing for emotional damage.
Me and my sister have had troubles pretty much our whole lives. A lot of it stemmed from drug abuse from our mother, which split our family in half. My father left our family. Huh?
What type of drugs?
I personally seen her use heroin. My dad said she had used cocaine, basic marijuana.
James describes a very chaotic home life behind the sibling rivalry. He says the trouble began because of their mother, who was a drug addict. Child Protection Services got involved at one point, and James and Jezebel were sent to live with their father, whom James resented for taking them away from their mother.
You're how old?
I'm gonna be 26 in January.
So it took you to age 25 to understand that your father didn't steal you from your mom. In fact, he rescued you off one of the worst situations you could have grown up in.
Judge Mathis asks James when he begins to stop resenting his dad, and he says it took him years. Judge Mathis points out that in drug abuse situations, the parent or family member who rescues the child is often the one who gets blamed by the child the most. Could it possibly be due to some psychological trauma?
How did you come to that realization?
I was going through counseling in school for a while. I didn't like it. He was never there for me, really. I got in a lot of trouble for disciplining my sisters. After my mom was gone, I was kinda took place as a second parent because I'm the oldest child and I'm the only male.
James says his father was also an alcoholic, which means their life wasn't very stable in that home either. He says he began disciplining his sisters and took the role of a second parent because there was no one else around to do that. Jezebel interjects to say James has been abusive from the very start.
What about your family? Who growing up in a household, was your mother drug addicted, as he says?
I can't remember. I was really young, maybe about 2 years.
You've never come into that knowledge yet?
No.
Okay, have you spoken to your mother about it?
No, she passed away when I was 11.
Okay, so you never knew whether she was a drug addict?
Never.
And you've never been convinced of that? All right.
James says the false accusation stemmed from a fight he had with his sister. He was staying with his girlfriend for weeks and visited his sister's home to pick up some supplies when they argued about his cell phone. Jezebel threatened to destroy his car, and he left. Soon after, the police knocked on his door with assault charges.
She had
Did you report
flattened
it?
tires, yes. There was,
You have the report?
no.
Okay. Was she ever convicted of flattening the tires?
No.
Okay. Is there anything you have today to prove something regarding the car you're suing about?
Yes, I have 3 witness statements. I have a vehicle title.
James says the police told him Jezebel had bruises all over her body from where James punched her. He says he submitted to a body examination which showed he had not been involved in any fight. He went to jail for a few days due to these accusations and came back to slash tires, which he alleges was Jezebel's work.
I did not take his truck. The only thing I did was prevent people who had no titles, nobody that owned the truck, from coming on my premises and taking that vehicle.
Can you look on the back of that temporary title? Because there was a note written to one of the third parties for the police officer to get my vehicle off the property with my permission.
James says she stole his vehicle in his absence, whereas Jezebel says some unknown people came to her home to take the vehicle away without a title, and she stopped them from doing so. Anyone could have taken the vehicle afterward. So, who is Judge Mathis going to side with in this sibling rivalry?
He has beat on me physically.
You have evidence? Did you go to the police?
I did. They
You
said
have that report?
I have his criminal background.
No, the report that he beat on you. You
no,
guys
just,
have a good day. Both your claims are dismissed.
Jessica and Chris have been friends for many years. Jessica and her husband, Adam, lent Chris some money when he was going through a tough time, but now he refuses to repay the loan, insisting it was a gift. In addition, he's also going around telling people Jessica has been in love with him his entire time.
Chris and I were friends for several years, and for whatever reason, he's been going around telling people that I was jealous of him, that I wanted a relationship with him.
Where do you know him, and what has the nature of the association been?
Well, we've just been friends. He come down to the house and did some work on the driveway, and that's how I met him.
Jessica says she met Chris when he did some work in her home for her. She says they developed a good relationship, and later on, their respective families also became friends. They visited on birthdays, weddings, etc., and had a great friendship. Chris insists Jessica called him on their wedding day to ask if he had any feelings for her.
She asked me pretty well blunt if I was ever going to have more feelings than friends for her.
No, I didn't.
And she wanted to be safe. She wanted to make sure she was making the right decision in getting married. And I respected that as being a friend. We talked a good bit, basically asking me if there was any development in my part, if I thought there would ever be anything more than friends from the relationship.
Chris says Jessica's question really surprised him, as he had never done anything to encourage such a situation. He said he told her she was making a really good decision by marrying Adam, and it was probably just the wedding jitters talking. He said he was going through a divorce at the time and didn't have time for anything else.
I said, I like you as a friend. I want to be your friend and maintain friendship. I think you're making a good decision. We talked probably 15 or 20 minutes after, and we developed the same friendship from there forward.
And you didn't say something like, where's this coming from?
And when Adam and I got married, Your Honor, in August of 2014, he was still married.
Jessica says Chris was not going through a divorce at the time of her wedding and was still married. Judge Mathis accuses Chris of causing problems between the couple to deflect attention from his loan, and says it's a very common pattern among people where the lender is someone in a committed relationship.
Many people who owe money, and there's a husband and wife involved, that's one of the lowest bombs they throw to get out of the debt. You expect me to say, no! Oh, she's no good. You're no good! Case dismissed. That's what people expect.
Jessica says the problem began when Chris went home one night and realized his wife had left with all of the stuff in their home and their 3 children. Chris immediately called Jessica and Adam, who tried to help as they were all very worried about the missing children. His wife's phone was also switched off.
She ran off on me. She was not happy. Obviously, I didn't talk enough, or I talked too much to her. And she took the kids and she went on a adventure of her own. And it took calling local authorities to ask the question, you're legally married, our hands are tied, go through family court, which is what I did. Going through family court's not free. And that's when I turned to Jessica and Adam for assistance.
Judge Mathis asks them where the loan came into all of this. Jessica says Chris asked for money to hire a private investigator to figure out where his kids went. Jessica says he agreed to return the payments by a certain date, but failed to do so. She also helped Chris file for something called emergency custody for his kids.
I took it as a gift, Your Honor. They were helping me, helping our kids come home, and apparently it was not a gift. Once we started discussing that the money needed to be paid back, there was no way that I could repay that in 30 days. I had enough issues going on with the divorce.
Chris says he thought the money was a gift, but then Jessica and Adam began asking for the money back. He says he couldn't afford to pay it all back at once. Jessica says he blocked them from everywhere when they kept asking for the money. So, what's Judge Mathis going to say about all this?
Judgment for the plaintiff. I believe it was a loan. I believe based on this testimony, you submitted text messages, and about 6 of them he acknowledged owing a payment plan and begged you not to take him to court. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day. Thank you.
Shanqui and Carla became friends when they met at the hairdresser's. Carla has always been a very creative woman, but she went viral for creating a dress-shaped Christmas tree for a friendly competition with her son. Shanqui paid Carla to make her one as well, but Carla didn't make it and won't refund her the money either.
She launched a business called the Original Christmas Tree Dress. I fell in love with her creation, and we befriended.
What is that? Describe what that is.
It's a mannequin bust form that has garland down at the bottom to mimic kind of like a Christmas tree at the bottom. I thought it was beautiful. I had never seen anything like that, and I definitely wanted one.
Carla says she had some spare mannequins lying at home, which she used to make the Christmas tree that Shanqui liked. She says it soon went viral and had millions of likes in a few hours. In fact, a Victoria's Secret model messaged her to ask if she could make her one of those dresses.
You have a shop to do this?
I was doing it from home.
Okay.
In 2014, I did it from home.
How much do you charge for the average dress?
The average dress start at $1,500, and depending on how much craftsmanship I have to put into it, it can go up to $2,500.
You still in business, obviously?
I am.
Jean-Qui says she had 2 kids named London and Paris, and she wanted Carla to create a dress-shaped tree with those cities as themes. They began throwing ideas around in October, and Jean-Qui sent her $960 as an advance payment so she could get the tree completed by December 1st for her party.
I was going to be having this big Christmas party December 1st, and I needed her to be able to have this product ready for my party. And as it got closer, Carla promised me that the following year that she would make good on the promise and do me a tree for the following Christmas.
Jean-Qui says she realized Carla would not have the tree ready in time for the party, so Jean-Qui went ahead and got a regular Christmas tree for her party instead. Carla told her she would make Jean-Qui a dress-shaped Christmas tree the following year for the same money. That summer, Carla moved away to another state.
She told me that she could still deliver on the product, but to consider this artificial tree. And I said, well, that's not what I wanted.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. The last word, the last discussion, what was it?
Can I get my money back?
And what did she say? Did she give you a reason?
She didn't give me my money back. She just kept telling me, try and take this artificial tree, and that wasn't what I wanted.
Carla told her she wouldn't be able to make the tree for her because she had moved away, but wanted her to consider accepting an artificial tree instead. Jean-Qui said she did not want an artificial tree and told Carla to just give her money back, which she refused to do.
October 2015, she did contact me about doing a Christmas tree for her. She wanted it for December the 1st. I let Jean-Qui know that that's pushing it for me. You cannot get Christmas trees until after Thanksgiving. That would not have gave me enough time to get her tree done by December the 1st.
Carla said Jean-Qui was being a drama queen and shouldn't be asking for a refund because she will get an artificial tree from her. Judge Mathis asks Carla if Jean-Qui ever actually agreed to these conditions, to which Carla replies no. So, who do you think Judge Mathis is going to rule in favor of?
I'm agreeing to do her a tree.
That wasn't the original agreement. The original agreement was to give her a live tree.
I don't want that.
And she doesn't want that. So give her her money back, ma'am. $960 is your judgment. She didn't give you what she agreed to give you.
Thank you, Judge.
Brandy and Jeffrey dated for a few months, after which Brandy became pregnant. She says her son was born after a complicated labor, but Jeffrey didn't show up. He later on showed up with another woman, took pictures with the woman, and left. She's suing Jeffrey for unpaid child support for the past few years.
I met Jeffrey back in '98. I became pregnant within the first year of us dating. We were together up until I was about 5 months pregnant, and he just wanted to live a different lifestyle. He was more worried about partying, going out, hanging out with his friends, his family, his one cousin in particular he wanted to hang out with all the time.
Brandy says she broke up with Jeffrey due to his partying lifestyle while she was pregnant with his child. She went into labor earlier than expected, but Jeffrey did not show up for the labor, even though she tried to contact him and his mother for many days. She had severe complications during labor and even began to have seizures.
I died when I was having my son. They brought me back. I seizured while I was having him.
What was your complication?
I had toxemia. When I had Isaiah, which is our son, he came up to the hospital with a different female, got a picture, and left the hospital.
Brandy says she used to live with her mom, but moved out because her mom didn't approve of Jeffrey. They moved into a nasty trailer so they could at least be a family, but Jeffrey would leave her alone with her son all night and go party with his friends. She says he was even doing some drugs.
He got a car himself, but when he wanted to drive that, he would have other females driving around. And the one time he pulled up in front of the house and I watched him lean in and kiss her goodbye. I'm watching him out the window, and instead of walking home, he walked over to the neighbor's trailer. And then he tried to convince me that I was seeing things. I didn't see him get out of that car.
Trying to convince you that you were high too.
Yeah.
Jeffrey says he was involved in taking care of their son until Brandy took him away. She says it is not true, and he could have reached out at any time as he knew their every address. He only met up with them when she contacted him through his employer, And that too because he only wanted to get back with her.
For back child support, he's only made one payment in 17 years. It was in May of 2000, payment of $281, and that is it.
How many times did he go to jail for it?
He got arrested twice for it and was supposed to pay $500 to get out of jail, and somehow he slipped out of jail without paying anything.
And the second time?
Same thing.
Jeffrey says he saw his son around once a month while living in the same city as him, but did not make any child support payments in this time except for one. He says he tried to do the right thing. So, what is Judge Mathis going to say about all this?
You have absolutely no evidence that you've done anything in all these years other than your word. So I'll grant her judgment. The maximum we can give is $5,000. All right, good luck to you. He claims he's been involved in the son's life. You claim he hasn't. I don't know who is telling the truth. Good luck.